Law enforcement officials say the suspected shooter in Friday's attack at the airport in Fort Lauderdale, Florida, has confessed to planning the massacre. The suspect, 26-year-old Esteban Santiago, now faces federal charges which could carry the death penalty. Prior to the shooting, Santiago traveled to Florida from Alaska, where authorities say he was already on the FBI's radar. CNN's Dan Simon has more now from Anchorage, Alaska.
I'm standing in front of a motel for transients. This is one of Esteban Santiago's last known addresses. We know that investigators were here for several hours talking to people who worked here, as well as speaking to some of the residents and recovering evidence as well. This place could be an important part in terms of piecing together Santiago's last few days before he went to Fort Lauderdale and carried out that shooting. As far as investigators are concerned, the posture that they seem to be taking here in Alaska is that they did everything according to protocol, that when Santiago went to the FBI office last November, said he was hearing voices, that they did everything according to the book, first by referring him to the local police department and ultimately facilitating a mental health evaluation.
In November 2016, Mr. Santiago walked into the Anchorage FBI office to report that his mind was being controlled by a U.S. intelligence agency. During the interview, Mr. Santiago appeared agitated, incoherent, and made disjointed statements.
APD was contacted by the Anchorage FBI requesting assistance with a mentally ill person having disjointed thoughts. When APD arrived on scene, they were informed by investigating agents Mr. Santiago had arrived at the FBI building asking for help. Santiago was having terroristic thoughts and believed he was being influenced by ISIS. Santiago had a loaded magazine on him, but had left his firearm in his vehicle prior to contacting agents.
We also know that Santiago had multiple interactions with Anchorage police over the past 12 months. One of those interactions resulted in a pair of charges, a criminal mischief charge where Santiago allegedly broke down a bathroom door at his girlfriend's house, as well as an assault charge on his girlfriend. Now, those charges were set to be dismissed in March, assuming Santiago lived up to the court's conditions. The bottom line here is there seems to be a host of mental health issues, and investigators are going back and looking at all of their interactions with Santiago to see what, if anything, they missed. Dan Simon, CNN, Anchorage, Alaska.
Well, relatives say Santiago was a changed man when he returned from a U.S. tour of duty in Iraq. CNN spoke to his brother, who lives in Puerto Rico. He says that despite the voluntary mental health evaluation, Santiago still didn't get the psychological help he needed.
I want to clarify this for the Puerto Rican people and for all the people in the world, that the federal government already knew his reaction. They already knew the thoughts that he was having and how they weren't good. He himself went after them to ask for help, and they did nothing. They had him hospitalized for 4 days, and then they let him go. How are you going to let someone leave a psychological center after 4 days when he is saying that he's hearing voices, that the CIA is telling him to join certain groups? This was in November. He was a peaceful person, amicable. Everyone who knew him would say the same thing, that he was an amicable person. He would always help me. He would always do favors for people. Various people have supported me, telling me that they know him and that they didn't treat him in enough time. These are people who know they didn't treat him, who know what veterans suffer from when they come back from the war. There are several of them who get help, and several others who, well, don't get the same follow-up. Not everyone has the same reaction when they return from war. Some are better and some not so much. It's too early to know our family's plans. We haven't been able to speak to him. The authorities have him. A government agency has come here to give us the notice that we can't speak to him. I'd like to talk to him. It's the first thing I want to do, talk to him to see how he is doing. I don't know when the trial will be. I was told soon, maybe. They are saying, well, some channels are saying that he was Muslim. What happened was, when he went to Iraq, he bought a scarf. He bought it as a souvenir, and he took the photo with it as a memory of what he bought in Iraq. That is it. He didn't belong to any radical group. We were born under the Christian faith.
Santiago's brother speaking there. Well, court documents show that the suspect told officials he loaded his gun in a bathroom after he arrived in Fort Lauderdale and shot at the first people he saw in a baggage claim area, killing, of course, 5 people. Sheldon Fox with CNN affiliate WSVN spoke to a survivor.
The casings were flying all around us, she says. The grandmother of 13 from near Green Bay, Wisconsin, had just landed in Fort Lauderdale for a vacation in the sun. But she wound up in the hell that was Terminal 2's baggage claim. Walking among the dead and the wounded without a scratch, her husband was also uninjured. I sat next to her on the plane, the woman says, and nearly 10 hours later, while waiting at Port Everglades to find a ride to her hotel, she told 7 News the rest of the story.
One of the ladies that was killed was my seatmate on the plane, and she was standing right next to me.
In the baggage claim?
In the baggage claim. I gave her a gift. She turned around. I turned around to zip mine, and the pop started. We hit the ground. I turned around, and she was shot in the head and killed.
That shooting victim's husband was hit too.
Her husband was shot in the face. The guy next to him was shot in the cheek. The guy next to him was face down. He was dead.
It's part of an accused mass killer's path of destruction.
He reloaded, and he's walking just with his arms straight out. Stone face.
Did the man say anything when he was firing?
I didn't hear anything. People were just yelling, "Get down." I have a strong belief in a higher power, and I know someone was watching over us.
That was Sheldon Fox with CNN affiliate WSVN. CNN has learned the names of 2 of the 5 people killed in the airport atrocity. Terry Andres was on vacation. He was a ship worker from Virginia, celebrating his 63rd birthday with his wife. A friend says he was the ultimate family man. Olga Waltering was a great-grandmother from Georgia. She flew into Fort Lauderdale with her husband, and they were about to go on a cruise. Her priest says she was joyful, loving, and caring.